Good morning, PSIT Kanpur, and thank you for this opportunity to share my story with you. I'm going to begin in about 2012. I was experiencing this feeling. A lot of you are students here, and maybe you haven't reached that stage when you actually experience a burnout. But I'm sure at some point of time in your life, you're going to experience this. It's not a pleasant feeling, and it leaves you in this place, which is a situation where you're kind of thinking what you should do ahead and whether life is really working the way it should. So this was, for me, it was around 2012. Our business was in very deep trouble. We had gone through a corporate debt restructuring. Financially, we were not doing well at all. We were trying to do a lot of things, but we were in this vicious cycle, a downward spiral where we were not getting the support we needed. We were losing a lot of people in our business who were not being able to stay with us as we were not sustaining ourselves. I had also, on the personal front, I had recently gone through a divorce. I had two children who I was trying to build a bond with. So there was a lot happening in that period. And I was questioning whether I'm in the right place or I should actually give up what I'm doing and start anew. Maybe take a sabbatical for a couple of years and then decide, what am I, is this really the path I want to be on? I had started working in this business in 1999 when my father decided that he wanted to travel the world on his motorcycle, and neither of his sons were interested, and he was not able to sell the business and go on this journey. I decided to come back and get into it, and I felt maybe that had happened just by chance. So maybe my path was something else. And my wife now and a guide and dear friend then asked me a very critical question, and that's something that changed my life. The question was, what would you do if you could do anything? There was no restrictions, there was no money problem, there was no time problem, there were no issues at all. What would you really do? And that's what changed my life, because as soon as I started thinking, if I was to give everything up and start anew, what would it be? And the answer was always around nature. I would do something that would leave the planet better. And maybe that was because I was brought up in a place which was green. I was brought up in boarding schools that were around mountains. It was deeply inculcated within me. And I started searching for what my purpose would be. And thankfully, around then, I also met another person who influenced my life greatly. This is a person called Dr. Prasad Kaipa, and I attended a course with him, and he became a mentor of mine. And he taught me 4 great things that led me to where I actually went. The first thing he said is nothing in life happens by chance. If you really think you just came into this business without any design, then you're probably a little mistaken. So there is a design, universe's design that happens, and you can accept it or not. The second thing he taught me was that you cannot wish everything that you've gained so far away. You have to take what you've gained and build on top of that. You can go to the Himalayas and try and find the Shambhala and look at starting anew, but there is already so much that you have. Why not build on top of that? The third and probably the most important thing he taught me was that your purpose is never about yourself. The true happiness that you experience in life is when you're actually doing something for others or you're trying to serve. And so you have to look at what you can really contribute that would benefit mankind or others in your life. And the last thing he taught me was that never think small. Think of how you can contribute 1000x, maybe more than 10,000x of what you're thinking. How can you influence more lives? Or how can you influence lives deeply? So my purpose became to leave the earth cleaner through nature-based packaging. And why did this happen? What I inherited was a pulp and paper company which was making packaging material. Most of you actually use our packaging material on a daily basis. A lot of the soaps in our country are wrapped in that. A lot of the sugar sachets are from our products. McDonald's only uses our paper for their bags, and I hope that you take away a lot of the food stuff when you go to McDonald's, because that helps us sell more. But none of you actually know that we are the people who are doing this. The other problem was that most of the packaging that we did there was plastic added to it. So if you look at soap wrappers, there's plastic on top and plastic in the bottom, and our paper is merely a carrier of that plastic, which also means that when it's thrown away, it has the same consequences as any other plastic would. So we were not really influencing that. So we thought, we have to change that. We are not even creating value. Nobody even knows us. So we decided that we were going to do nature-based packaging. And what does that mean? The first thing is that nature-based packaging comes from nature. It has to emerge from something which is natural. We were also already using sugarcane waste to make our pulp. And that was a great thing because this is a fiber that is actually going to get burnt if it's not used. So we were already in that space. Not only that, we were actually using mainly rice husk and biomass to make electricity. We were not buying any electricity from the government. We were also recovering almost 95% of our chemicals. So we were really green, the way, as green as we could possibly be as an industry. The second thing which was important and we were not doing is that the packaging has to go back into nature. There has to be an end of life. There has to be something which leads it to, get back into Mother Earth. And this was something that we were not managing because we were totally dependent on our converters. So we decided to work in two broad areas. The first was flexible packaging, and we continue to work deeply in that area. The flexible packaging, and when I say flexible packaging, it basically means the potato chip bags that you use every day or many other things which are multi-layered packaging. And they say that, this flexible packaging is not even going to go away in 1,000,000 years because it's so engineered. It's engineered to really protect the material inside. And the other thing was styrofoam. Styrofoam was harming the earth. And again, it was non-recyclable, non-compostable. So we said, we are going to try and find solutions for these two areas. And we are going to find solutions that are backyard compostable. Not just compostable in an industrial facility or recyclable, because we don't have any control on what people are going to do with it. People might throw it and you can't do much about it. So you might as well create things which, if thrown, are actually going to be beneficial for the earth. The third part of nature-based packaging is solutions have to be based on the principles of nature. And what does that mean? So nothing packages as well as nature does. You just have to open your eyes and look around you. As soon as you start looking, you find that there are so many things that nature offers in packaging. The first and foremost principle for packaging is that its dharma is to protect. Now, if you look at a pomegranate, which I've shown on the screen, it's such a fine, fine, fine seed. It's so delicate. And it's so beautifully protected by this outer covering. And you see the inner layers within the pomegranate, which again separate the seeds from one another and keep it protected. And this is just one example. There are so many examples in nature of protection. The other thing that is really important in packaging is that whenever you package something, you want to know from the outside what is inside. And what we do in today's modern world is that we do a lot of advertising around it. There's a lot of printing which tells you what is inside it. But in nature, it's very simple. You can never mistake an orange for a banana. That's the way it is shaped. That's the texture. That's the whole idea. It's in your mind. As soon as you see a watermelon, you know what it is. As soon as you see a pea, you know what is inside it. So, it is designed in a way where, it shows what it is. The one thing that we all look at is expiry date in our packaging. Be it medicines, be it food. What does nature do? Again, very simple. The packaging itself changes color, shape, smell, and eventually, if you open it, taste. The unpacking experience has to be wonderful, and you cannot ever compare the unpacking experience of nature as we unpack. We tend to struggle hard. A box from Amazon comes, you tend to rip it apart. You try to sort of, when you're opening potato chip bags, you're trying to struggle hard, or you're trying to tear it. There are so many things we have to do in the packaging we make. Look at the unpacking experience of most of the things that are made in nature. Look at when you peel an orange, you put that thumb in and it just sort of unpeels. You look at that banana, you just take off the top and you unpeel that banana. You look at the eggs, you press it from the top and to the bottom, nothing is going to happen to it. They say you can apply a lot of pressure and nothing's going to happen. And you take a little, a little knife or fork and crack it on the side, and there it opens out. So there are so many ways in the way nature unpackages. The amazing thing is that nature packages every sort of matter. There is the solid, what you see on the screen is a shell of an abalone. It is the hardest substance you can find on earth. There is liquid packaging. You probably drink coconuts, many, many times. And look at that. It carries that liquid for so many months and years within it, and nothing happens. Gas is also covered and packaged in nature. Most of the fishes, they have an air bladder. They contain gas. And of course, gas is also carried within us, our system, our lungs. So there is all sorts of packaging in nature. So these are just some ideas from nature. And this is not it. There is a lot more we can talk about within nature. One of the things is that it uses only a single source of energy. It only uses sun. There is no real, high-powered coal going into producing packaging from nature. The water usage is minimal. It gives back what it is taking in. So there are so many things we can also look at when process goes. But so what? What are we going to do with that idea? So the main focus for us became, how are we going to make this purpose of making packaging through nature come alive? We all suffer from this. We all get into our comfort zones. We've all, maybe many of us have heard of the Stockholm syndrome, where you find, when you fall in love with your own kidnapper, and you start finding, we hear of people who have been in prison and don't want to leave prison because they're so happy. They become so used to that, I won't say happy. So the idea is to shake yourself and get out of comfort zones or status quo. This is a big one which I had to face many, many times, and I probably continue to face every day. I have to remind myself, am I taking this decision from fear, or am I taking it from a place of love or connectedness? And we find that, in our lives, we feel so much fear of the unknown that we don't want to de-risk. We don't want to take risks. And we get governed from fear. What will people say? What will my parents think? Will this succeed? Will this not succeed? Will my financial security go away? So, these are things that keep you from taking anything, making anything large happen. The last is that we can talk as much theory as we want. We can harp all about nature. We can talk all about protecting the earth, but we have to make it real. We have to find a way to make it happen. So this is the big huzzah. What did we really do, which is changing the way we live, and hopefully will make some impact, through the work that we actually do. So we ended up creating something which is written on my T-shirt. It's a brand called Chuck, which produces compostable packaging to replace styrofoam mainly and plastics. Not only did we do that, we actually ended up challenging a lot of our assumptions. The first was that we went for huge scale. When we went to place order for our machines, our supplier was aghast because we said we want to buy 8 of the fastest, biggest machines and the most automated machines in the world. They said you should start much smaller. Take a small machine, experiment with it, and then go big. We said no, we are trying to make a dent in a huge pile. And in order to do that, we have to find a way to sell it. It's not that we're going to produce less. So we're going to try and produce as much as we can. So we set up a capacity initially of making 1 million pieces a day of material. And we said not only are we going to do that, please also take an order for 8 machines the next year and 16 machines the year after that. So the idea was, how do we go from 1 million pieces to 2 million pieces and then 4 million pieces, and then we will make some sort of a impact. And this was mainly done from a place of wanting to do and be close to our purpose, which we had decided on. The next assumption that we challenged was that we were told that the market only accepts white. especially in India. We are used to wanting things which are nice and clean, and brown doesn't look clean. But we were again challenging and being close to our purpose. Our purpose was to make things which were more earth friendly. As soon as you want to make it white, you're going to add bleaching chemicals, which has two problems. One is you're adding more chemicals, and the second is that you're losing more fiber. So in the end, you are damaging, you're not optimizing the usage of fiber. So we said we are going to challenge that. Why not make it more natural looking as well? The third thing we did was that we challenged the whole design idea. Everything you see in the market is going to be round. We are used to round plates, round bowls, and round serving bowls as well. We said no, we are going to study what the problems are in the market, and we are going to try and solve them. When we studied the market, we realized there was a disparate amount of things which were actually being used in order to serve. And we said we're going to learn from Lego and see how they fit one thing into another. And we are going to give the power of usage to the customer. The customer can decide whether they want to use a 2-compartment or a 3-compartment by fitting these 2 bowls into everything. But that also meant the geometry had to shift. It had to be a square or a rectangle instead of a circle. The third thing was the business typically was divided into 3 broad areas. People made pulp, people made products, and there were marketing companies. We said no, we are going to challenge the whole thing by giving a cost advantage to our customer, and we are going to do that by making the pulp ourselves, designing and making the product ourselves, and then also trying to make a brand and marketing it ourselves, which again was going against the trade norms. So what happened really? Well, the product has just been launched, and we are trying to market it, and we are finding a huge, wonderful response that is in many ways unexpected. We thought it would take even longer. But the bigger thing is that I wake up joyful every morning because of finding my purpose. I was struggling to get out of bed. I was struggling to get into work. I was motivating myself every day. And here I am. My wife needs to draw me out of my office every evening to say, stop, come and spend time with us. Because I'm just so ingrained in the mission and the purpose that we are trying to resolve. The second thing is there's a lot of recognition which happened because of our fighting our fear and doing things differently. We won the India Design Mark. We've just won the Red Dot, which is the highest design award in the world. We've been given various other accolades and recognitions. We have an amazing team today. We were struggling to keep people within the organization, and today we are being able to find absolutely amazing people to come and work with us. Even the stock market has changed. Our share price went up almost 5 times in the last year. So I'm going to close with the idea that you have to think big. You cannot, your thinking small doesn't serve the world at all. So you have to look at what is your best. What is the best you can give to the world and try and live up to that? Let go of your fears and embrace that future. So I'm going to do a little exercise with you if it's okay. Is it okay? You have to close your eyes. Now you have to think of a place and time that you feel the most happy. Experience that feeling. Also think, what are your real talents? What do you really enjoy? What gives you true satisfaction? What are you doing then? Now think of how you can convert this to serve the world around you. As soon as you get this, you would have found your purpose. So I wish you all the very best. I hope all of you find your purpose and all of you can live the joy that you are here to live. Thank you.